What's up, guys? On today's video, we got a coilover job, but a special one. This is Brandon's WRX, and that's Angelo. Say hi, Angelo.
What? I'm over here. What's up?
TURN14 sent us this Blox Racing Plus Series coilover kit. It's a brand new kit from Blox Racing, and they're going in his WRX.
We're gonna be doing a full review on what exactly you get inside the box, how to install them, and showing you guys a brand new coilover series by Blox Racing, which we're super stoked to see. So let's get this box opened up and see what we got inside. All right, guys, first off, obviously be careful when you're opening these boxes. Get yourself a good blade and cut it up carefully. You never know what's inside. With you, it's under here. Let's check this out. Oh, all right. Any box, when you open it up and it starts with a sticker, you know it's gonna be something good. Blox, we appreciate this a lot. Ooh, these are pretty. These are the fronts. Let's get these all out real quick and we'll go through everything. Check out what we got. Oh,
I like this finish.
That's very nice.
Different. Wow.
This whole color scheme is nice. The finish on them. Ooh. Spanner wrenches. So obviously we have full front and rear coilovers. And when I mean full, there's a lot of new coilovers nowadays. You get them, they don't even come with top hats. These come with beautiful top hats on a pillow ball mount and camber adjustment. And not only that, 32-way adjustable. So you have full ride height capability with adjustability on the side, the dampening, soften, or harden your ride. Camber adjustments, which is huge. Beautiful top hats. The finish on these is awesome. Same thing in the rear. Obviously no camber adjustment in the rear because you don't need that in the rear. These are beautiful. I love them. I'm really excited to put these things in. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna get Brandon's car up in the air, get all four wheels off, get everything prepped out, get all the tools lined out that we need, and show you guys exactly how to install these bad boys. For the fronts, most coilovers come without anything adjusted, being height and your preload. So first thing we're gonna do is adjust the preload so we don't have to do that inside the car. After we get it back on the ground, that's when we can adjust the height, get exactly where we want it for the customer, being Brandon. To do the preload, we are gonna break this bottom collar loose, separate from this one, and tighten this preload until I cannot tighten this anymore by hand. All right, quick break loose, super simple. Oh, these are nice rings. Ooh, smooth. We're gonna be turning this spring and this exact lock collar up clockwise in order for it to go up and put a little bit more pressure on it like so. Doesn't need a lot of rotations. We're just gonna do a few real quick. Butt this back up against it. And now, as you can see how it's very hard for me to spin the preload? That's good. That's tight. We're gonna make that set and do the exact same thing to this, measure our distances, make sure everything's even, and then we can install them. So these preloads weren't actually that bad. I adjusted them a little bit and made sure everything was dead even. On this, it's 2 3/4 gap on this exact coilover. It's gonna be different on every single setup, but as we work front to rear on our fronts, we always make sure we work on both coilovers at the same exact time. Doesn't mean you have to install them at the same time, just make sure that things are even. You wanna install this one and make sure that the exact same height is going to the other one, because when you go to lower or raise it, corresponding sides need to be identical. So right here, they're set so far, and now we can move on to actually installing them.
So obviously, to put the new coilovers in, we gotta get the old ones out. This car still has the factory struts in it. Gotta get the car up in the air and take the old ones out.
All right, first thing we're gonna do is before we remove the shock assembly itself, we are gonna be taking off any lines that will be getting removed with it. So that being the brake line and the ABS sensor. The brake line right here looks to be a 12 mil. It is. We're gonna take that one off first. All right, now that we have the brake line off, we have the ABS line, and that's our final line to get off. This is gonna be a very slow process. This top bolt does get in the way, but we have to remove this bolt anyways, so we may as well just make our life a little bit easier. Take this top bolt out first, and then we can get to the 10 mil behind it. So we're gonna be using a 19 mil on this one to remove the top bolt, get the back one out, get the bottom bolt out, and we'll move on from there. So when you do take it out, it will spin awkwardly. Put the nut back on the back side of it, just like this. So you have a flat surface all the way down right there. And if you tap that with a hammer, you won't mess up any of the threads. That way you can tap it out a little bit, throw the gun back on the left side of the 19, pull it right out, and you can move on to the next bolt. Next up is our last bolt. It's the 19 on the bottom of the knuckle. So Being where it is, and because this arm will drop after, we always recommend put a jack under your brake and just tap it right on the bottom of the brake. That way, when you remove that final bolt, nothing drops, nothing swings out. You have full control of the situation, and you can move on to the top 3 bolts. Just like that. This bolt should slide right out as it does. And now that all the bolts are removed, I should be able to push this forward a little bit and pull this back, as so. And we have it completely separated just like that. Now I can move on to the top 3 bolts. For this next part, you're gonna need a 13mm socket, and you can either use a 1/2" impact or a 1/2" wrench, whatever you prefer. We use impact. I'm also using Brandon to hold the shock. Now that there's no nuts or bolts on the bottom holding the suspension in, all we have is these top 3 that are actually holding the whole entire unit in place. So when I drop these 3 bolts out, Brandon's gonna be holding on to the suspension. Once I get him out, he can pull the whole entire unit out, and the whole new unit goes right back in. All you. Get that around the line. All right, as you can see, it was a little bit rusty, so it might be held up on something. Use a hammer, a mallet, pop it out of place. Keep your hands on it at all times. And we got the old suspension out. Let's throw some new suspension in.
What's nice is how Blox Racing Support, they give you all new hardware for the top hats.
It's a beautiful thing. Not every single company does that. I like that a lot. When installing the new suspension, we're always making sure that our top hats go in and out. This is all for camber adjustment. You want to make sure that they're not rotated like this, because then you have caster adjustment. You don't need that. We're going camber adjustment, putting them in, get our top 3 bolts on. Basically exact reverse of what we just did. Should be pretty simple. Coming up to the top, line it up. Beautiful. So these are nylon nuts, so we do have to go and tighten these now before we get to the bottom. For this, definitely do not use an impact gun. Definitely do this by hand. Back to a 13mm socket. Gonna get them nice and snug. As we got the strut out of the WRX on the passenger side, we are going to be comparing it to passenger side brand new coilover from Blox Racing. They have the same exact notches on the passenger side, and this one is going to be for the driver's side, so you don't get them mistaken. If you ever have a question on which one goes where, look for this notch, and they match up. That way we know this one's for the right side, this one's for the left side. Now we're reinstalling everything. Now that we have the coilover in the car, we're going to be relining up everything here, keeping the jack under the brake here. We jack this up and line up exactly where we need to install everything. Watching my holes line up just like that, and not forgetting that the camber bolt adjustment is going to be on the one on top. Get that partially in, line up my bottom. Just so you guys know, when it comes to the top camber bolt, they're not the most fun to put back in. So as you can see, this is the top camber bolt for the driver's side, excuse me. When it goes in, it is very tight. It's supposed to do that because it is a camber bolt. It is a minor camber adjustment when it comes down to aligning. So sometimes you got to use a little bit of force when you have when you're under the car and installing it. So I take the nut, put it on the back side. You can put an impact on it and send it right through if need be. Sometimes you can tap on the back side of the bolt as well to send it on through, but it is what it is on these cars. Let's move on. Let's get that bottom bolt in now. Now that we got that camber bolt in on the top, I can actually remove my jack so I can swivel the bottom and get that lined up exactly where we need it. Slide that bottom bolt right on in. Get the nut on the back side, just like that. And now we're free to tighten up these 2 bolts. As you guys do know, we have the brake line and the ABS line to still install. We obviously took out bolts on the stock suspension. Sadly, these bolts do not work with the new aftermarket suspension. This is more common than you may think. So what we do is either find brand new bolts, or if you don't have any, just use zip ties. It's okay. It's still safe to do it. Make sure they're in there tight. Even double up on them. Not going to be the end of the world. We're going to slap the wheel back on, get it on the ground after we finish up the rear, check our ride height, and then adjust from there. We're just checking what bolt size we need right now. Looking like a 14 for the end link, 17 for the bottom of the shock, another 17 for where the hub matches the bottom A-arm. Now we're on the rears. We're checking the preload. Grab everything, try to turn. Everything's tight. Same thing with this. So now all we have to do is tighten up the bottom collar right here. We're good to install them. First thing, we're gonna take a jack again, just to make sure that the brake doesn't fall down on us when we remove everything. So we're gonna take this jack, put it right under this arm right here, and all you gotta do is just tap it, just like that. Now we know when we remove everything, nothing's gonna fall down on us. All the way back here is the end link. We're gonna remove that first, and then we're gonna move to the shock, and then the last one right here is right off the hub. We're gonna remove that just so we can get everything out of our way, get our top 2 bolts out of the top, and pull the suspension out. All right. Next up, we have a 17 on the back side of the shock bolt. That's the bottom shock bolt, as well as a 17 on the front side. So I'm gonna get an open-ended wrench on the back side, my impact on the front, just like that. We got the 17 on it with an extension. I'm just gonna blip it out, just like that, back itself out, just enough. Pull on it, with a little bit of force. So pulling on that bolt, ends up getting that last bolt out. Got one more to get the hub off. We can drop the suspension. Get the nut off first, and then work on getting this bolt out.
Took off some of the side piecing right here to be able to access these back top mount bolts. There's only 2. The easiest one is right here. Gonna be a little bit of a process to get that back one out there, but pretty self-explanatory overall. Should be pretty easy. But yeah, gonna get the rear coilovers in and get the wheels on and drop it on the ground. And just like that, the bolts are off. Now we can drop the strut and put in the new rear coilovers. Out with the old and in with the new.
Let's go.
Alrighty, so now we got the new coilovers ready to go in. We did a little bit of an upgrade. They were 14 millimeter originally, but now we are upgraded to the new hardware, which is a 15 millimeter. So Angelo is gonna slide those up through here. I'll get the new hardware on, get it all tightened down, and we'll be ready to go. All right, hold that there, Angelo.
Yep. Now we're gonna be putting them in reverse now, being the first bolt. I can't talk.
And now we're about to put everything back in the reverse order that we took everything off. Unlike this man, he couldn't do that.
So we're back here. One of the only things you have to do at the same time on the other side is remove both your end links. Because we're now installing a shorter coilover, it makes it very difficult to force that end link up. So we're gonna remove it on the other side. That way we're not fighting ourselves. And once both sides are installed, lastly we'll install that end link. We can put this thing on the ground and see what it looks like.
Everything you just saw on the front and the rear for the coilovers, you guys want to repeat on the other side. We did the passenger side first. Doesn't matter if you do passenger or driver side first, but we did the passenger side first. Just repeat everything on the opposite side. And that's pretty much it. We'll catch you back when everything's all said and done. All right, guys, so now we are in Brandon's WRX. So go for a spin, see how they feel.
Oh yeah, I can feel a huge difference already.
Really?
Yeah. Oddly enough, it feels like factory suspension just by having that lowering effect, to where like I still feel comfortable like driving this and not having to worry about like, you know, just bouncing all around and having all that roughness. But it honestly genuinely feels pretty good. We're probably driving on one of the worst roads in our area.
We're down, if you guys know Western Massachusetts or West Springfield, we're going down Riverdale Street, and this street sucks. Watch. It gets worse over there. Like, what is this? And this is worse. Give her a little love on the turn. Oh, there, we got a red light.
You know, obviously since they are brand new, we do have to let them settle, so.
Yep.
I'm probably gonna feel a difference between now and a couple days from now. But as of right now, for just being freshly in the car, I have zero complaints.
There's like no body roll. Oh, I like it. So I would say Blox Racing, the Plus Series coilovers, pretty damn good coilover, and I think they're fairly affordable, like $1,000 or $1,050
Yep.
for the full set and everything. That's not bad. Really can't beat that.
Overall, Blox Racing coilover quality I thought was phenomenal. The fact that they're 32-way adjustable is awesome. Obviously full height adjustable. Comes with top hats. Comes with camber plates up on the top.
And the fact that they're only 1,050,
just over $1,000.
Just over $1,000 for the
This
kit.
is a bang for the buck. This is coilovers are going up in price, and that's a phenomenal price for coilovers. I would 100% recommend these.
You guys want the same coilovers for your WRX? Let us know. TURN14, thank you very much for sending us these coilovers. I know Brandon's super appreciative of them.
I'm so thankful. Thank you guys so much. It means a lot.
Blox Racing, you blew it out of the park on this one. Thank you guys so much for this. This is beautiful.
Thank you guys for watching. We will see you on the next video.